When it's connected, I'll be just a second. We are connected. All right. I don't see. Do you have your screen sharing?
Yep, should be able to see the disclaimer now.
Yep. We're good to go. You want to
Cool.
get started?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So, first things first, kicking off the usual way, just with the disclaimer. Responsible day trading, nor any related entity is none of this is financial or investment advice. Anything that we do say is just an expression from RDT. Don't trade with mortgage money. Don't trade with money that you can't afford to lose. Any past results are not necessarily indicative of future performance. With that, without further ado, let's get on to the RDT website. So first up, we can see those of you that haven't seen it, we have updated the website. Lots of interesting things going on here. Kicking off, you can go to About RDT. You can go ahead and meet the team. You can find out lots of great information about all of us here. If you are interested in finding out a bit more information, people's backstories, all of us have our own little blurb over here. So, very interesting stuff. And hopefully, as time grows, this section will keep on growing as the RDT team keeps on growing as well. So, we'll head back over to the main hub of the website and we'll take a look at our live classes. So, April, we've got a lot of stuff coming up, really interesting things going on. Today, obviously, we have the live market analysis with myself. As we go through the month, you can see we've got Spanish and English classes. I believe one of these will be Lindsay, one will be Jason, and I think I will be doing section 3. Yep. For these ones, it will be Davies and Cesar, as well as the live market analysis. I'm pretty sure, there it is with Davies on the 22nd. If you scroll on down, you can see information with regards to the seminar that's coming up at the end of April. We'll be teaching lots of interesting topics that we haven't really covered as much during the curriculum. So it'd be interesting to really dive into, especially the psychology of trading. We do have some material coming out soon with the psychology. We have stuff on money management, but in particular, the tax seminar, that'd be very important, especially for the US traders. We'll, of course, be doing real time market analysis. So you'll be able to get everyone's opinions, everyone's point of views. You'll be able to see how everyone has a slightly different perception on the market. And you can see what one person finds comfortable, another trader may not necessarily find comfortable. So there'll be more information on this coming out soon. We'll have a completely different page and you can actually buy individual day passes. So if you're busy on one of the days, you can just buy the other two, or you can buy all three, etc. So now we've looked at that, we're going to go ahead and look at the free curriculum. So if you go over here and you go to section 1, press on the Zoom registration link, that will take you to a different page, I believe. So over here, you can then sign up, register, and then once you've registered, it will then take you automatically to the courses page, which looks like this. As if you're not a student, you won't have all of these ones. You'll only have this one here, the RDT core. So we'll go ahead and click on that. So if you're unaware, we are giving away 4 whole sections for free. They do include homework. The homeworks will probably be taken away soon as we realize we are giving away some really good information in there. So if you really want to make the most out of it, I'd really recommend getting over there and getting through the curriculum. We won't be marking the homeworks, but it will really give you an idea of just how we do things here at RDT, what the homework is like and what will be required. It is necessary that our students do the homework just because it helps you really reinforce what we're trying to teach. And from that, we can see that you've really grasped the concepts. So as you can see, we are going through the curriculum. We will repeatedly each month go through different sections of the curriculum. So if you do miss a class, we will have future classes. So just keep an eye out on the live schedule on the RDT website. So as we're going down here, you can see all the way through to section 4. There are a couple lessons we have left out because there are kind of lessons that are very important for our strategy. So we have kept some stuff, just all the special, not all of the special stuff, just some of the special stuff for our students. And of course, if you want to have your charts set up like ours, we do also offer a separate course called the NinjaTrader Platform Fundamentals, where you can get the templates, the workspaces, and the MACD indicators in a separate course. So you could just, for example, if you don't feel you need all the curriculum and you just want that stuff, we have separated it so you can get that access for a much lower cost. So that should be that for the website. We'll go ahead and we'll check out the news. So I've already got it up over here. So today was Monday. We did have a couple pieces of news just after market opens. Tomorrow, only one thing again, half hour after market opens. Wednesday, quite a lot of high impact news coming in here, half hour to an hour after open. So should get some good volatility in there. Thursday will be pre-market, and Friday will also be pre-market. So just keep an eye out for that. We do recommend traders usually around 5 to 10 minutes before and after we do sit out the market. The high impact news, some of us don't mind trading when it's moderate volatility down here, or the low volatility is usually absolutely fine. Sometimes when moderate, you just want to just be aware of the position you're in. Based on experience, you might want to give it some time either side of that. Just check that I haven't missed anything out. Oh, and of course, we do have the Discord link if you are on Discord and you want to see what's going on over there. Also for the website, if you scroll on down here, you can get the free beginner guide. That's really good bit of education that we've given out for free. Jason's relentlessly put together 3 guides, I believe it is now. Really good. So you can come over here. Lots of information specifically on futures trading, and also tailored slightly to how we look at the markets. So now I can go ahead and get our charts up. Oh, and of course, on the RDT core curriculum, you can also come up here for the Zoom links as well. So firstly, I'll get up the daily chart. Just stretch it out just a little bit. So you can see, first things first, we've continuously been grinding up, pushing to new highs every few days, breaking those highs. We've really, in the MACDs, we can clearly see the divergence. And we've really got that struggle in between the Bollinger Band, not really being able to break out either side, just rotating, using it as support and resistance. So the bands and the BBs are showing weakness. So it wouldn't surprise me as well with this, if we finish this day with this hard flag reversal bar, whether we can then look to break that bottom Bollinger Band, similar to how we break out over here, but then we get that strength. So obviously for the time being, the direction is clearly to the upside, and we're really, really strong, especially with how wide and spread these EMAs are. So if we do break out this bottom Bollinger Band, are we going to expect it to be able to get all the way to the downside? I'm not so sure about that. There are plenty of support areas in the way between the EMAs and the current price area. So what we would really want to see for it to be able to shift the direction completely, we're going to need to see price below the EMAs, and we're also going to want to see these MACDs cross to the other side of the 0 line. Similar to what we did over here, we had that divergence between these 2 pivots. Then we break below those bands and we really pick up the strength. And we get below the 0 line, get a pullback. We then get inside of those EMAs, eventually break below, push on down, snap back up. EMAs don't really cross over for that long, so the direction didn't really change that much. We did get below, so technically we did shift the direction, but then we break back to the upside, shifting it back to the upside. So now we're really paying attention to this purple BB. Are we going to be breaking below this Bollinger Band? It'd be interesting to see if this flag reversal really starts to push down stronger. So paying attention to the end of the day will be really interesting to see. So apart from that, we're going to then go ahead and look at the 28,657. Cool. So straight away, what can we see? Similar to how we have that divergence in the daily, we've also got a big old divergence kicking right in here. Started the day open and then we had that big gap. So we'll also talk about this a bit on the 10,946. Doesn't look as big on the 28,657. You can see it in here. But anyhow, we have this divergence. So from that, we would be expecting some kind of pullback, especially towards the EMA areas. We've broken into those EMAs with a lot of strength in the price and had some strength in the MACDs as we crossed through that zero line. Currently now we're slowing down on the MACDs. We are getting a bit of that color change that we look for, really getting a little bit pale in there. So what would we be looking for if we wanted to anticipate this to go lower? So as price is just hanging out here at these EMAs, we need to be aware that with these BBs weakening, there could be the potential for more to the upside. So if we had weakening here and on our lower charts, the 10,946, we had some divergences to the upside, we could anticipate a bit of a push up, especially just being at the overrun of this EMA. So what we would like to see if we were going to push on down, we really want to see a pull away from those EMAs. You can see we've kind of just hung out here around that EMA. So we really want to see the price bars pull away, especially from this close. So we want to push past and close below. With that, the MACDs, a really nice look would be an outside roll, that ultimate retracement divergence that we talk about in the curriculum. We have had the strength, but the longer this the longer this kind of weakness and bunching together carries on, it cannot always fill you with the most amount of confidence. When we're looking for that picturesque outside roll, we really want to see something where we just slide off, almost like just hit it and slide straight off. This one in here is fairly nice as well. So we're coming down, just skidding off that band and pushing on down. But as I said, when we're starting to bunch together with that color change, right now, when we look at the other charts, I think we'll just be waiting for the current time until we get a clear signal. Of course, this is the 28,657, so it's not one of our trading charts, but it gives us that overall picture for what we're really looking at. Of course, EMAs as well are still open to the upside, so that's another thing in favor for more up. But right now, we're just in this small area. We've had flag reversals in both directions, one to the downside in here, one to the upside, so a bit of indecision. So really, we're just paying attention to how these BBs play out during the afternoon session. And that is quite a big divergence as well. So it will be interesting to see. So now we'll get on to that 10,946. So you can see right in here, we have that gap right in here. So that imbalance, if you like, if you're into your smart money concepts. And what happens with gaps usually is that they are usually filled. A lot of traders aim to close the gap, and that is what eventually happens. But starting off on the higher time frame, as we always do, top down, clear divergence as well. We did get a very strong push up as we started the new day, as the market opened. Pardon me. So yeah, we really pulled away sharp in the price coming into that resistance level. Or rather, that wouldn't have actually been a resistance level at the time because it would have been all-time highs. So we pushed up, we then created that just from pushing to the downside. The 1597 during that time, those BBs going really white in here. So we had that strength up, but that indication in the BBs turning white was telling us that the direction on the 1597 was anticipated to be coming to an end shortly after. And with that, we get a bit of a snap down. Not the full snap back, but we do get a snap down. And then the BB is just grinding along. So this is kind of what I was talking about earlier when you want to see that nice picturesque kind of slide right off the Bollinger Bands to the downside, creating that retracement divergence in the price, eventually snapping us back down to the EMAs. eventually crossing the bands and pushing to the downside. So there were some good opportunities today. Uh, I know Cesar caught a couple trades. I took a couple trades as well. So pushing on to the downside, you can see how we really pick up the strength in these BBs here. We do get white, we're still outside. We pop down and we get a bit of a snap up, which is where we are currently. So we've pushed down into that EMA area. So notice how the white BBs here would have been lining up with that 28,657 EMAs. So around this area at 290. In here at 290. So that's literally where the BBs were getting nice and white. And then we'll look at the 1597. So you can see the overall on the 1597, these MACD pivots have been leading higher consistently. So we have been anticipating a bit of a pullback. We do pull away from the band slightly here on the 10946, giving a bit of a snapback look. And then notice how these BBs on the higher time frame here really, as we've pushed down at the price, almost creating that divergence. The BBs on the higher time frame really did not agree with it. They were like, nope, going to keep pushing up. So we pair that struggle to roll over here with these divergences leading higher each time. Finally, with those white BBs in here, gives us a good indication that we're going to get a bit of a pullback. And that would have lined up with this pivot here as we pulled far away from those, from the EMAs and snapping back. Cesar said, do you think the smaller charts are going to carry the high time frame charts to the downside with the signals we are seeing? So mainly when I'm looking at the smaller charts, so we can see with reference to the trading chart and the 233, I'm currently now looking at this area. So we're at the EMAs, which is often a good area for a trade, often a good area for continuation with the trend. I can see the BBs here now at the top Bollinger Band. So that's kind of going in favor to the downside, but paying attention to these BBs, it wouldn't surprise me if it popped back further. Something keeping me off the short at the moment is just how many higher pivots we've had. But we are at the next area, which we could anticipate a move down. So I'm currently paying attention really to the bar behavior on the 1597, kind of just stalling out here, going a bit sideways. But now I'm then going to be looking at my 233 to give an indication of how this could impact what's going to happen on this chart. So for myself, currently pushing up here on the 10946. So, but we are far below the zero line. So this is something we need to take into account as well. Obviously, the further we are below the zero line, the higher the anticipation of continuation in that direction for that chart. So something else that I'm taking into consideration is the 28,657 area. So just being at this overrun, this is something that used to get me chopped up a lot, is that I would take the first pullback. I used to watch this pullback into this area and I'd be anticipating it as resistance straight away without us fully pulling away from the area. So we need to remember that these strong areas, especially on the larger charts, we're going to get larger overruns. So what you may perceive as a pull away and a pullback in a great area for a short, you need to realize because it is a high tick chart, we can just roll off that area. Especially being such a strong area, we usually get some reaction. So currently I'm being patient. I'm seeing, are we going to get a bit of a deeper pullback? The deeper pullback would then give us more room to run, the further we can get away from that higher time frame area. However, if we didn't have the 28,657 EMAs there, then right now, not with these BBs, I wouldn't be interested just yet. I'll squeeze the charts up just a little bit so we can get a bit more of the overall perspective. But my bias personally, I wouldn't be taking a long trade because I wouldn't want to be going long into these areas that are very close by, I think that it wouldn't be as long-lived. The look on the 233, if it pulls back into these EMAs weak and get a bit of an outside roll here, I could anticipate it to push up a bit higher. But personally, for me, it's not something I would feel interested in just yet. Just going to bear in mind what the levels are. At 290. So there's also a potential for divergence on the 1597. Are you referring to what side are you talking about, Cesar? There's also potential for divergence on the 1597. Are you referring to this pivot here? So Lindsay says, I'm not sure either, low. I see both price and MACDs leading lower. Ah, right, the retracement divergence isn't here. I believe Cesar was referring to. So often when I see the retracement divergences, we need to remember that they're not often as powerful as divergences. So when I see retracement divergences, unless we're in a really strong market, I don't anticipate the continuation to be as much as the actual divergences. In here now, what do we see? Sort of pulling up, getting that flag reversal in here, pulled just above, fairly weak BBs, divergence in the 233 here. So I'm still interested to see what's happening. Personally, I still wouldn't feel comfortable just because of how close we are to that higher timeframe EMA being at that 290 level just in here. So we've got a cluster of levels that could be pushing the market in both directions. If the 28,657 EMAs were not there, I would still be looking for a short currently. In order to be wanting to take a long, I'd want to see some strength pushing up, breaking these 1597 EMAs. Would also be interested to see what would happen once we break above this level in the 1597. By that time, we'd start to pick up some more strength in the 10946 BBs, albeit would still be below the zero line. And if we did break out and pull back, then the next areas we'd be looking for would be the next EMAs or the next resistance levels. So I'd be looking to see whether we would get back up to the crossover in the 10946. I mean, the pivots on the 5294 area, potential for divergence to the downside. 5294. Oh, Cesar means in here. So Cesar was looking ahead of time. So he was saying that when price pulls up to this level, so right in here, we're going to have the potential for divergence. And what he means by that is, assuming these BBs don't pick up too much strength, by the time they get to the same price level, they could be leading lower, in which case it would be a signal for more to the downside. Obviously, we'd then need to pair that up with signals from the higher time frame and the entry charts. So now we're pulling up into the 1597 EMA, 10946 BBs. Lindsay says, I think the W pivot on the 10946 is going to move it a bit. So Lindsay was talking about this earlier, just how this W pivot right in here, how she believes that it could be shifting it back to the upside. I'm currently now watching these BBs in here. With the W pivot, what we usually expect is price to reach this level back in here where the price pattern started. Oh, Lindsay's referring to the all the way up here, I believe. Oh, right, shit, on the 10946. So with a W pivot on the higher time frames, obviously the pattern's going to be a lot larger. And it is a reversal pattern, so the expectancy would be to push us back to the upside. For us to get more confluence or confirmation of these BBs here, we'd really love to see them break away and start to gain some strength. And really, once we break above this area here, This is kind of the last area that I'm anticipating could give us a bit of a push down. But 233, we're trying to pull away with strength. BB's pushing up with strength with weak retracements, coming into an area of resistance and the resistance from the EMA. So now it'll be interesting to see what happens. I would not be interested in a short at the moment. I also would not be interested in a long. I personally try to avoid trading between the EMAs. It's something I used to do a lot when I first started trading. I know Tim, I know you like those trades, but you're a lot better at them than I am. And so personally, it's just not my sweet spot, if you like. I much prefer to see price break above with strength, pull in, and then go for something like that. And with that kind of look, what would we want to see? We would want to see these BBs pull away, give a weak pullback, creating that ultimate retracement divergence kind of look. Idealistically, the 233 BBs would pull back weak and then slight roll to the upside, slow and roll, and carry on pushing. Recently, though, my trading has changed. I more so prefer catching the initial move as opposed to taking the pullbacks. So you can see now what we were talking about earlier, even with the strength coming down, as those BBs were getting a bit pale, as they started to get weak, slow and rolling, we're now getting that first blue BB trying to roll to the upside. So this is what I was referring to, how we can often think because we're pulling back to the area, we're going to then use it as resistance, but we didn't really get a chance to pull away from the area to create space to then pull back to it and then use it as resistance. Doesn't mean we're going to keep going up all the way now, but I'm just saying that you can anticipate some kind of reaction off the area. If we had a lot more strength and the outside roll happened a bit quicker, something like that, or even something like this to the upside. You don't want to see too many BBs. You want to see price pushes, pulls back, and it keeps going, especially at these key areas. So now it's trying to make an attempt to do the slow and roll. 1,600 ticks left. So that's given more confidence to what Lindsay was potentially anticipating with that big W pivot. If I wanted to even think about a potential short, I would at least want to see some strength in the 233 to push down, to this area, pull back, create some divergence with some slow and rolling in here. That's potentially happening. At this area, we've got a double bar in there as well. But I wouldn't want to get in just on this pivot. I know we do have some divergence here, just about not the cleanest divergence. So I'd want to see we push down here, pull back, and I'd want to see that pullback being fairly sharp. So now the 10946, it appears we could be getting a flag. We've got 6,000 ticks left to go. Notice I was still, though, just in between this kind of box area around those 28,657 EMAs. And you'll often find around the EMA areas, especially between the areas, you'll get a lot of choppy action. So even like you get grindiness or just complete chop zone. So that's why I mainly try to avoid them. See, I still feel the part of me saying, oh, it could go down, it could go down. But having taken that kind of trade and losing a lot of times, I've learned to be just a bit more patient with it. Tim, what's your... Oh, there you go. Tim, my long bias was just a bit too early. Yeah, I meant to reply to the um, chart you sent in. Do you mind if we get them up, Tim? Are you happy for us to? Cool. So yeah, I think this was a case. I would love to be able to see the other charts, but obviously, perhaps were you looking at the retracement divergence here? Assume that's what you're anticipating with the leading so much higher. Tim said, grill me. Yeah, so Tim, this is what I used to do a lot. So I don't know if you flick through your charts and then instead of having all three up at the same time. Um, so if you are doing that, yeah, tab. So I thought about doing that. I assume that's because of previous company um, that you learned that from. But the problem is with that is then you can get sucked in so much into your entry chart. And this is something Lindsay used to tell me all the time, like you're trading your entry chart and you're not paying enough attention to the 1597 because these EMAs are wide and spread. And at that time, I believe it was, let's see, 10, 12. I think you're central time, aren't you? So would have been somewhere around here. And even then, we're picking up strength. I'd have to see actually. 10. Are you central time, Tim? Eastern. Eastern. I don't actually know the difference for Eastern. But anyway, going back to the whole retracement divergence. With retracement divergence on the entry chart, we can't anticipate it to go too far. So we'd really need to look at the retracement divergence. And yeah, it is leading a lot higher. But because he's an hour ahead of Central, right, so it's 5 hour difference. Right, I'll find it. So we're at 1548. So that would have been about this area here. 1548. So we've been in this area, I believe. Sharp push down. That might have been this area here. 5298 area. It's a bit higher up. Yeah, here. Perfect. So, if we incorporate all of the charts, what can we see? Right. So we've got here pure strength. This is something I was looking at earlier. You can see where I've put in that arrow line. Pure strength, especially when we're coming off the divergence. So the divergence in the higher time frame gives us a very good indication we're going to get a push in the opposite direction. And we had that paired up as well with the 28,657 divergence. That in itself is a great indicator. And we've pulled outside of the Bollinger Band and we're pushing down with strength. So it's going to take a fair bit to turn this strength around. But then what I assume you were then looking at was the divergences here, coming down here. So that's what I'm assuming you're looking at. So when we have strength, sorry, could you repeat the last minute? Had to mute. Yeah, sure. So I'll go back and say it. So I think you're around here, Tim. And as you were pushing down with so much strength on the higher time frame, we had the divergence on the 10946. We also had the divergence on the 28657. So the two divergences on the highest charts are really good indications that if we do break through the EMAs or if we do start to have a shift, there's a very good chance we're going to get a decent move. So once we then break to the other side of the zero line, we break out the Bollinger Bands, we get below the EMA, so we shift that direction. And then we have that strength on the MACDs smoking down right in here. So what I assume you then saw was this divergence in here. This is around the time you entered your first long. So I assume you saw the divergences and we're like, okay, cool. Now we're going to be pushing to the upside. So what we need to keep in mind, so that would have been about in here. What we need to keep in mind is that when we have this amount of strength and we get the divergences, we then need to treat the divergences slightly differently. We need to anticipate that the divergence then has a good chance of pushing it back to the next key area. Then when we're at that next key area, then we need to reassess. So when we're going against this amount of strength, we either need to be locking in our stops quicker or taking quicker targets. So I assume, where'd you get in? So you got in about 98. I can also see you got in on a flag reversal to the downside here. So as well, if we're going to be taking these trades, you're going to want to be taking it at the divergence. So right in there, you've got the white BBs, you've got the divergence in here. Are they harder to catch? Absolutely. But it's lined up with this resistance, with this support level you put in here. You then got the flag bar on the 1597. You would have been right in here, I think. This kind of flag bar in here. So it would have been a very hard trade to catch. But that's what you need to do when you're taking the divergence trades, because otherwise you're going to be taking the retracement divergence, perhaps up here, right into an area anticipated to push the market right back down. So if you want to be taking it, you need to catch the extremities, and they can be hard because it's like catching a bit of a falling knife, but you got to take them from the extremities and then take them at the closest areas, or at least reassess once they get to these areas. Lindsay said, yes, the divergence is happening over and over again. Like that is something that I used to call broken divergence, meaning it will keep making them as the trend continues to break through them. So you absolutely have to be careful with the entries and targets when the divergences keep setting up after that. But yeah, so a rule of thumb too is when the BBs are here and they're smoking to the downside, these divergences, don't anticipate them to completely shift the trend or break to the opposite side. Can it happen? Yeah, of course it can. But notice how, for example, here, we've at least waited for the BBs to slow down, get to a key area. So the 28, 657 EMAs, slowing down, getting the white BBs, getting the slight pull away in the bands. So this is more probable paired with these divergences here. So price has had a chance just to slow down. So notice as well the angle, the price pushing down with these really steep pushes, shallow pullback. We get grindiness, we get the steep pull away, and eventually notice how price action just kind of stalls out. So when it's stalling out and we're getting the slowdown in the BBs on the higher time frame, and then these divergences carry on, then each one of these gets more probable once the higher time frame is in accordance. Uh, Makes sense. I'll make sure. Cool. Thank you very much, Tim. I know it can be hard to break habits, uh, especially if that's what you've been using the whole time, but really having the three charts is really important because otherwise you can pay attention to your entry chart and you see so many different kind of signals. Like I'd be looking at this going, okay, we're leading a lot lower here. Retracement divergence, I could just hop in. Not saying that it won't work because it could, but really I can look at this and I go, well, this BB is actually trying to pull away. So right now I'm just going to be a bit more patient. 1400 ticks. We'll just see how this BB plays out. Got the outside rolling here. And really paying attention to your 1597 is key. And I never used to do it much. Well, I did, but not as much as I thought I did. I used to always be getting sucked into the 233 chart. So really you want to pay attention to the high time frame. You really want to put the narrative from top down. So right now I'm looking at this, could be playing out of that W pivot coming off that 28, 657 EMA. BB's now picking up to the upside. We've had the divergences here to push the price up. We're now at the area of the 4181 EMA. Are we going to get the outside roll to push us up and break through this area? Or are we going to then get the divergence here on a 233, which could then roll these BBs? So I'm going to be looking at the next bar now to see what happens. Cesar, what would anything that you are seeing or anything you like the look of?
I don't know what Cesar's seeing, but I see that W starting to try to
Yeah.
work out. I'm like, what's that W doing over there, huh? Do I still have control over your screen? I think I do.
Yeah,
No.
I
Oh, there
think
we go.
so.
Oh no, it's thinking. I don't know if you can. Oh no, I've completely frozen up now. Can you even hear me anymore?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, my screen's frozen up, so I can't. But yeah, I mean, like, that 10,946 is still below the zero line. If you want to show moving it, because it won't move on my screen. The reason now for my Zoom. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So like we're back below the zero line here. Are you seeing it move?
No, click.
I have been. I think I'm gonna have
Uh,
to it's freezing up again. So I think I'll have to un have control of your screen and then re
yeah.
have control of your screen in a minute, but it's okay for right now. But like
I've
that,
stopped.
it's okay. I'll do it in a minute whenever it's done freezing up. But like that W pivot, um, oh, oh, is it moving now?
I cancelled it. You just got to request again.
Ah, okay, okay. There we go. Perfect. Cesar says, I think we can have a divergence to push down, but we need more volume to move the price. Well, and I was going to say something about that earlier, but we got to talking to Tim a little bit. We got to remember today also on the calendar, which I do not remember the calendar ever saying this after Easter, but it says Easter Monday. And a lot of
Mm.
schools are out here on Monday. So there's still probably not as many people there's people coming home from vacations and stuff from the Easter holiday. So it is moving a little bit slower right now. So we may
Mhm.
see that pick up.
I think we,
It's freezing up again. So I
I
think
think we could potentially push down a little bit now.
there is a potential for it. Yes. Cause we've come up and we've equaled this area. I'm looking at these MACDs here though, that they're still outside. They're still pulling back. So I'm waiting for a bit of a slowdown there first.
Mm.
Um, but we are well below the zero line, right? So there's a lot of distance below the zero line, which we know can give us a push back to the downside. I just think it has some potential to keep up. I'd have to look at my daily chart. Mm. Yeah, because those MACDs on the 28,657 are finally starting to change colors and roll inside.
Hmm.
So we may see that pull back a little bit more. Does it have potential to go down? Yeah, we've been kind of waiting for it forever as it keeps just pushing up and pushing up. You know me, like whenever I typically like to see that movement in the opposite direction, I like to see like the bring the drama before,
Hmm.
right? I say that all
Yeah.
the time. And I think in a way we saw that on the 28,657 with the overnight, with the gap, with the big push up the last minute. So was that the drama? I don't know. Um, but I could be completely wrong because I'm definitely not a fortune teller, but I don't see it going down directly from here. So Cesar says he thinks we have a divergence push down, but we need more volume to move the price, and there are good options. Oh, that's for Tim. I told Tim he should get a portable monitor, something small, because he's only got one screen, which is why he keeps all the tabs on one thing. I think there is definitely a lot of value. And yes, there are a lot of cheaper options that you can get a portable monitor that you can plug in. Like I have these really awesome lightweight ones that travel with me everywhere. They're not necessarily cheaper options, but they're really awesome. So
Davey
Davis says
says,
he's looking for a long.
so
Yeah.
I would feel uncomfortable personally, but that's just not
I
my kind
actually
of
see
style.
it personally, but and the reason I see it is, I know we had what looked like a reversal bar here, but we have what's looking like it trying to push up with
Hmm.
that right there.
It's quite
We have the
grindy as
zero
well.
line. Yes. So that's the problem, right?
Mhm.
That's why, and I've been in your position a million times where it's like I see it, but I'm uncomfortable taking it because of that grind, because it could very easily just pop down
Yeah.
to this band and then go up. So I tend to stay out of stuff like this. And this is also the reason, just so you know, guys, that we're looking into just looking at other markets and seeing what our other possibilities are. Because this is a market that I moved to trade after the Russell moved to the ICE exchange, because the Russell was moving so nice before it moved to the ICE exchange. So we moved to the E-mini S&P. But if we can really do some work with some smoother charts, then there's no harm in Davis says he's looking at the NQ. I know that Cesar looks at the NQ as well. So okay, I'm sorry that I jumped in. I just wanted to say
That's
those little
fine.
bits. You go right on ahead.
So Tim's saying he thinks that Price wants to backside test the broken trend line, which would match up around to the 10946 EMAs around the 5300 area. So round these EMAs here. So something I don't like the look of, as we were just speaking about, is when price is a bit grindy like this, it can just keep on pushing. So when you see that really grindy action, price can just not care about divergences or slowing down because you can have really weak BBs and just carry on grinding throughout. Often with the divergence, when you're looking for like a divergence, you get a bit of a sharp pull away. So that's something I pay attention is the angle before the push down, which can often make you not want to enter the trade. Right now, like we said, Davies thinks long.
That's what I
I
was gonna
don't.
say right there too. Those MACDs on the 10946 are just, smoking to the upside. They're just
Hmm,
outside and with strength. Because you and I even talked when we were talking a little while ago about how, you were asking if I'd be looking for a short. Is it moving on mine?
yeah,
Nope, it freezing up again. I don't know what's going on. But we were talking about those MACDs where they kind of bunched, if you want to point to it. Even though it pulled down, it had major retracement divergence.
was
When
it
it,
here-ish?
it's not even, I can't even see your
Yeah, it's
cursor
round here.
here. Just where that low was, and the MACDs were leading so much higher still with that
That's from
whole
Davies.
decent
Yeah.
pullback.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, I think it was in here, wasn't it?
No, no, it was the next one. Oh, maybe it was. I don't know.
No, I think this is the one Cesar was talking about when he said about the retracement divergences. Is my
Yeah,
screen
so it must have been the
orange?
previous one when it was pulling back into it and just like,
Something that would.
we hadn't had a big rollover with that pullback, so there was
Mhm.
no reason to really expect it to keep going down when the MACDs didn't even have any kind of reaction to that.
Something I would want to see if it was going to go short. I really would need to see it break below these bands with some strength. Second, it's getting above this top Bollinger Band. I would not be comfortable being in it, especially with this potential outside roll. Is my screen turned orange for you guys? Because I've got a nightlight feature that's just come on.
Nope.
Cool.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I left my computer on over the weekend. I don't know if that's the problem. I realized it when I sat down. I was like, ooh, it stayed on all weekend. But now every time I try and like use my move my screen around on yours, it just freezes up. So I'm not going to do anything. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The 233 is by all means like currently still to the upside. It looks like it's working to go down, but it's above the EMAs, above the zero line. Um, but this is starting to look like it may give us at least a little bit of an opportunity down, but am I going to take it? Probably not. Because I still see the potential. I've got to see a bit of a slowdown in those 1597 MACDs. You just got one little purple roll, and then the 10946 MACDs are just too strong to the upside for me to even consider a short right now, I think.
So this is often like when you speak about that second BB you look at, isn't it?
Yes, exactly what that is. So that first BB came across with a lot of strength. But the second BB was super weak. Now, is that third BB going to pull away? Maybe. That second BB was super weak, and that's also why I like to wait till close to close of the bar because it still has 133 ticks, and we can see what's happening with that BB. It's already getting weak. It's bunched in
Hmm.
with the previous one. It's hanging out at the zero line.
Yeah.
So now that we're getting down to 40 ticks, look at what that BB is doing. Now it's turning blue and moving up. So
Yeah. Reversal bar on the 1597 potential.
yeah.
Very slow.
Yeah, I think maybe it'll start picking up in the next couple of days, especially with Easter holiday being over and we had contract rollover, Easter holidays over. Like kids are back in school and for a while now. And so I don't think our kids have any more vacations. I don't know. My kids aren't in school anymore. But I think people who have kids in school I think they're done with vacations till the end of the year, so should keep a lot of people available a bit more for trading.
Yeah, so I would still kind of be off the short just from this area as well, just not an uncomfortable area. But me personally, I also wouldn't be comfortable taking the long just because of how I know we are picking up strength here, but just because we've gone a bit sideways here and dipped in, that's not my comfortable spot for a trade, if you like.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, most of the time when I'm taking a trade, if I feel any kind of weird, funky nervousness, I sit out, right?
Hmm.
So I like to be pretty comfortable with it. And I don't see the ability for that currently. So if it does push down, what I'd want to wait for is, getting back below things on the 1597, like below the Bollinger Band, seeing a lot of strength and possibility for it to continue down, and then see a pullback if I'm going to take a short. But I think my brain is definitely stuck on that W's going to do what I told it to do.
I'd be more confident if this breaks above with strength for the top band.
Where
That's
at?
something I'd look at, but I'm just not a fan of the area. Perhaps it's because of
Oh,
how
yeah, yeah.
slow it's been moving.
Yeah.
Tim says I need to have the inner self-control of Lindsay.
Let me tell you, Tim, I didn't used to have this self-control. Now, if I could just do that with food, everything be a whole different ballgame. But um, like this used to be something that I would allow myself, like the 1597, where it's sitting at that EMA forever. I would allow myself to just get run over trying to take shorts over and over again right there. Because it's like, gosh, it's at the area. I got a purple BB. It should
Hmm.
be doing it, but there's so much more that says just wait.
I think I'd
Just
be
wait a
out
little
of
bit
the short
longer.
now
Yes.
because especially something that I like to see with the divergence trades is when they create this angle, I want to see it play out pretty quick. Because obviously
Yes.
the longer it hangs out and those EMAs catch up and it pulls back to the zero line, it's almost resetting to then go more in picture with what's happening here and with more in here. So now I'm thinking more potential for the upside, especially with this flag reversal in here, 9,325.
Yeah.
But still, I doubt I would have taken it because I just don't feel comfortable.
Just so you know, I don't know if you're looking at the YouTube at all. Your picture does cover the little bit of the top corner, the 233. So if it does go all the way up, you're not going to see the data anymore. So I would pull it down maybe like about an inch. Yeah, that would be good. That'll be fine actually, like that. Perfect.
Davey, so you in the long? Gone real quiet over there.
Well, like even if I was taking the long right now, I'd be sweating it still, right? I mean, it
Yeah.
tells me that it's going to go longer, but because of it taking so long to get there, I would just be sweating it. Like, come on, just move, just go.
Davey said he'll suffer and not enter. Tim said I'd probably be stopped at break even before it went.
That's always fun, isn't it, Tim? We stopped out at break even and then it takes
Now
off.
and now we're coming back with that flag to the downside potential.
Hmm.
Now I'll be back to thinking short again, but back into an area for it to push up.
I was gonna say, technically we talked about this class going until about 3 today, but because it's moving so slow, it's like one of the problems with it moving slow too is you can convince yourself of anything.
Hmm.
You can take the time and convince yourself that it's going long and then immediately convince yourself that it's going short when it moves so slow like this.
Yeah, I've
So,
gone from short to long to short.
yeah. Uh,
Now I'm looking at this over here.
yeah. Like, so we going down now? I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. It is. Cesar says it's difficult to take any trade with this kind of speed in the market. It just Honestly, when I'm trading and I see it like this, I just walk away because I know myself well enough that I'm going to get myself locked into stuff that I don't want to do. I was
So
also telling Tim, I just told him in a private message that pretty sure he's got an old workspace because the MACDs are a different color and he's got some text in the top left corner of his charts. So I think he's got the older workspaces from the old startup program. So I
yeah,
think there would be some value in updating the charts a little bit.
yeah, because these that blue's slightly different, isn't it? That's teal, I think, or
Yeah.
cyan rather.
What is that on the right, right above the MACDs? That.
That, not a clue.
What you got going on there, Tim? No.
Yeah, what's that? Hidden indicator.
Yeah. Well, and up there in the top left where the text is, it covers up some of the data on Tim's. So, we made those adjustments on the newer charts so he wouldn't so they could, he could fix that.
We've got Cesar's trades from earlier. Cesar's just always
Ooh.
smashing it now. So what's he got here? He got 7.75 in total and stopped out in here. Cesar's currently loving the breakout trades. They've become a regular occurrence. So plus 5.25, brilliant. And then is that another entry there? That would have me really uncomfortable personally, but Cesar's been doing it really well. What's that? Another 2 points. Is that only one contract, Cesar, on the final one? Oh, two out.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Oh,
I think
got
he
you.
typically does too.
Yeah, that's
I
what I was
find it
thinking.
hard. You and I have talked about switching back and forth between single and multiple contracts, but
Mm.
I find that a little bit difficult. A lot of times, first off, I'm having to think about something extra about switching back and forth. So it also helps me to be a little more disciplined because if I don't want to
Hmm.
take it with two contracts, then I'm just going to sit out. Yeah.
Are we getting the push down? So now we're looking at this Bollinger Band. Is it going to pick up the strength and break below? Moving like molasses. Moving slow.
Look, I know you like making fun of my southern sayings, but I catch you saying them all the time now.
This is okay. This is why I don't really wait for the as much of a slowdown from 10.946 because I feel a lot of the time you can just miss it. Any questions? Cesar says, I was seeing a lot of signals for the short, but my impatient brain was moving stop to break even every time. Do you think, Cesar, that's because you are taking more breakout trades recently? So you feel like you're perhaps not stops not in the most optimal spot? You're struggling to be patient and let the price move. You are stubborn, Cesar. Cool. So now these BBs look to be picking up some strength. MACD's not saying much over here. They're on the 10.946. Big bar down. BBs haven't even gone inside. At the next EMA, potential area for a push back up. Don't know if I can repeat that, Cesar, on a. Yeah. Davies, did you take any trades today? help. I took, whilst nothing's happening, took two trades earlier. I'll just talk you through what I was seeing. So this is kind of a similar look to what's happening now. We're just putting up. The MACD is really weak. So I'll put a line in here. So it pulled up. So we're coming off the divergence, pushing to the downside. MACD's pulled up ever so slightly. So we got that retracement divergence. Putting up to this area, it wasn't the strongest of areas, especially, we've just crossed over, but we were kind of just hanging out there. But what really sold it to me was just the BBs being so weak. And then in combination with that, we had the divergences. So we had the pivots leading lower all throughout here. I got in on this pivot here. Stop was 2 ticks above, and we had a nice bar in here as the indication. Took my first target off at 3 points just because it was lining up with the 28,657 EMA at the time. We then pushed down strong, pulled away from the bands really fast. I was anticipating potentially a deeper pullback, especially coming off the higher time frame EMAs. So closed out for a 1.75 on that. We then obviously pushed down majorly. And then I took this one on Sim, mainly because we were leading higher. So we're coming off this divergence, off that. I think we were overrunning the EMAs at the time on the larger chart. Coming in down here to the 28,657. So we had a bounce off the area with this really sharp pull away. So I wasn't quite sure whether we were going to turn around. So I thought news had just happened as well. So I thought I'd play it safe. Obviously, now I wish I took it on the other account, but similar kind of thing. We're pulling up to the EMAs, which I've crossed, and now opening up a bit wider, pulling into the resistance level as well. We get a nice reversal bar below the zero line, that divergence right in here after 233. And then I targeted back down towards these levels here. Oops. Right in here at 530. And then obviously it carried on pushing down. I saw some pullback trades as well, but they're not my current comfortable spot. This one would have been stopped out anyway for a break even. That one would have worked, but it would have been hard to catch. And then I decided to close my charts. Recently, I've decided that after like an hour and a half or an hour and 10 minutes, I just close my charts. Otherwise, I'm just sat here all day looking at the charts, thinking about potential opportunities that may arise. And it's just, I know we all want to just stare at the charts all day because we love looking at the charts and seeing opportunities, but I find it does help just to close them down, just get it out of your mind, at least for like an hour or two. If you're going to trade the morning and the afternoon session, then I would definitely recommend just closing them down, just either walking away or just clearing your head. Otherwise, you find that it's just trading's on your mind and it can influence your whole day. You have a losing day and it can make your day feel rubbish, and yeah, wouldn't recommend it. So we're now getting a push up off the lower EMA, reversal bar in there. So that was the next area of support, right? As we're kind of in between that area again, where we have the resistance and we have the support. So similar to what we were talking about earlier, when we're between those EMAs, we can get a lot of janky price action of just back and forth until eventually one side wins out.
I wanted to say something here really quick too. When you were talking, we were looking at that push to the downside
Hmm.
that was happening, that was like trying to be like, are we going to take this short now?
Hmm.
And then just still paying attention to what the 10946 MACDs were doing
Yeah.
right then. They didn't
Hmm.
even roll over. They didn't even get inside. I can't remember who. I guess Cesar said, oh no, Tim or Cesar were talking about pulling back towards the EMAs on the
Yeah, says
10946.
Tim said that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we still have the opportunity to see that, but we really got to break through this area first.
Might happen tomorrow if we carry on at this speed.
Yeah. And so one of the reasons, guys, that we're trying to work to have this a little bit longer and we're doing it towards the end of the day, number one, we want to prove to people that it doesn't matter what time of day you trade, right? There's a lot of places that will tell you that you need to be there the first hour and a half in the morning, which is absolutely not true. You can trade. I feel like you get just as much movement and energy in the last hour and a half of the day, which typically around 2:30, which is in like 25 minutes, we tend to see a lot of movement and strength around then for about the last half hour. So I think it's a really interesting time to trade and can also give people other options instead of just thinking that they have to be at the market when the market opens in the morning.
Do you try stopping trading out on the hour? So on the end of this hour coming, or do you give it the extra 15 minutes?
Well, so now it goes until 3:45, right? So it used to at 3:15, shut it down. It was closed for like 30 minutes or something, and then it
What time is
reopened.
it there for you now? Two,
Yeah,
2:05.
yeah, 2:06. So yeah. Um, if I am trading the last part of the day by about 5 minutes after three, it starts to just die out absolutely, completely. Sometimes it goes to about 3:15 before it dies out, but we can technically stay in until close, which is at four. But if you're not out by 3:45, NinjaTrader, if you don't have like just a giant account, NinjaTrader is going to kick you out and then charge you $50.
Mhm.
So, and there were a lot of times where I stayed in till like right at the edge, but it was just moving so slow and I was just praying for it to move more than anything. And I should have just gotten out of the trade to begin with. So now usually I don't stay in the market any longer than 3:15, which is like an hour and 5 minutes from now. Um, it's typically about when I will be like, okay, nothing else is gonna it's kind of like that saying, like nothing good happens on the street after, in the middle of the night at 2 in the morning or whatever. It's like nothing good happens in the market after 3:15. So that's just kind of the way I see it. And so because it's moving so slow today, I didn't even put into the mindset that it's the day after Easter. We may go ahead and close it out in just, like 20 minutes or so. We'll just see how it goes. I'm gonna let you run the show, Dan, even though I'm in here just chit-chatting like it's our show. But yeah, so I'm gonna go back to mute and you can just go on. But I just wanted to put that out there about, if you want to shut down a little bit, that's fine.
Mhm.
If you want to run until 3 o'clock, that is your prerogative.
We're starting to pick up now.
I see
Yeah,
that.
so just have to see what happens.
Hmm.
I'll carry on watching it if it's going to be carrying on at this speed. So then talking about that divergence area that Cesar was on about earlier.
Yeah, at the top pivots.
Hmm.
Now that it's broken through the EMAs, that divergence wouldn't really mean much to me, because it's
Yeah.
actually shifted the direction back to the upside finally on the 1597. So those top pivots, now I'd be looking to make another pivot above the EMAs and then start looking at the tops of those two for divergences.
Yeah.
Um,
You would have
yeah.
done it on you would have considered the third bar the shift, right?
Yeah, so that's the first shift above the
Yeah,
EMAs.
that one.
So now I'm waiting for the next pivot to tell me if we have divergence after that. Now, the two pivots that happened at the EMAs prior did
Hmm.
have divergence, like where it did push down. Yeah.
These ones.
And the one that happened in like 17, 18, um, both of those, the time 17, 18. So the previous pivot and that one, yeah, those had divergences, technically when you got to the EMAs,
Yeah.
which did push it down for a moment, but that divergence just didn't hold. So,
Hmm. Davies, I'm interested because you like your pullback trades. What are you thinking now about this area? Especially we've got the strength up here, coming or outside here. Obviously now we're looking to be slowing, but what would you be looking for to consider a bit of a long? What is it that you'd like to see?
Did you ask me or you're asking Davis?
I was asking Davies because Davies enjoys a pullback trade.
Uh, I'm not sure if he's around. Sometimes like Davis, you around still? Oh, yep. Okay. Did you hear his question? He was wondering if you consider a pullback trade for the long?
Yeah, I was saying
Yeah.
because I think this is the kind of look that he would be
Yeah.
interested in. Because for me, my concern is just how strong we've pushed down here and so weak on the
Yeah.
233 pushing up.
And Davis, if it's a lot to type, oh, hold on, I'll make you co-host. You can unmute and say something if you would like.
I assume now he wouldn't be interested, but okay. So Davies waiting for more strength. So I could personally, obviously if these BBs were slow and rolling here, I could then see the look for it on the 233, but obviously not with the whole reversal bars up here. Then that other flag right in there pushing us back down.
I also look at how much work it's going to take. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of work to get back down below the bottom Bollinger Band on 1597, back below the zero line. Um, so, is it going to do all that work to get back below there? So, if it does, it's going to be a little bit before I see anything that I would take in a short sense. And even
As
then,
in you would want this to cross the band, you saying?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And we're just making these little bits of pivots higher and higher. MACD is on 10946, still blue and outside. So it's like it's just pulling back to give areas to push up for a little bit. So I just it's a it's an ugly day. Like we
It's
did have
stuck
some good
between a rock and a
moves.
hard place.
That's right. We did we did have some moves down previous, right? When it was pulling back into the EMAs. Area on the 1597, which was touching the EMAs on the 233 on the way to the downside, but creating all those divergences. But currently, there's just not a lot to work with that gives a lot of room to run to the next targets.
Is this a perfect time to say Mama said it's moving like a herd of turtles?
So my mom used to say every time we left the house, she'd be like, and we're off like a herd of turtles. I don't know why, but that was, I guess we just moving slow. I don't know. I've seen some turtles move pretty darn fast. Okay. My son told me the other day, like the fastest man in the world, what's his name? Hussein Bolt. He was like, he races
Mhm.
turtles for a living. He was like, he races turtles. He's like, so the fastest man races the slowest things in the world. And so, or one of the slowest things. I just thought it was funny.
See, I see that we're at the area now for potential push up. I also don't like taking the trade, when we're just in the middle of those bands, at least without a slowdown. Like, so right now, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking a short or a long.
Yeah. Well, and like really the stuck between a rock and a hard place is we've got like these, you know, resistance areas close to us above, support areas close to us below. The real thing that you'd probably want to do is wait to break through one of those, pull back, and then be ready for the move. So you're just kind of stuck in limbo for a little bit until then.
Yeah, still just in this area, milling around.
You're gonna bring home all of these wonderful American, sayings to all your friends out there.
Just petering around.
The funny thing is I have to think about those things whenever we're doing like having translations And
Oh,
I just write like I talk. So I do say things like, yeah, we're petering around this area. And then someone like Claudia or Cesar, or whatever, is trying to translate it into Spanish. And I'm like,
who is Peter?
it's not, yes. But really, if it
That
doesn't start
is,
picking up like in the next
yeah,
15 minutes, um, extra work and translation, right? If it doesn't
Tim.
start picking up in like the next 15 minutes, we probably will go ahead and shut it down. Just so that it's not I mean, we wouldn't be sitting through it, right? Personally,
Hmm.
if it was moving like that, we would just go ahead and walk away. So
Yeah,
it'll that like I said, that's up to you. This is your show. I just keep butting my nose
you're
in it.
just special guest.
Yes.
Tim, have you got any questions about anything? Seeing as we're just chilling, waiting for something to happen in price. How's your homework coming on? You almost got through those 100 examples. Lesson's almost done. Good job, mate. I promise you, I'm pretty sure that's the longest one. Like
Which one
when
is
you
it?
said there was like 90 examples, I was like, okay, that's quite a lot.
Which one is that?
I believe it was the reversal bars. Hey, Tim, mate, let's just hope you don't get
Oh,
it wrong.
yeah, because there's the flat reversal bar, the tiny reversal bar, the
Yeah.
triple bar, there's
Well,
just
actually, no, I think he's already done that. Reversal patterns. Yeah, it's reversal patterns.
reversal
Yeah.
patterns. Okay.
Yeah.
That one's a little less.
But you'll say,
But
Tim, I
Tim
hope
and
you've
I
done it
actually
wrong.
had a talk about his homework and because everybody comes to us at a different level of knowledge when they come in.
Mhm.
They may not need quite all of the homework done as everybody else. So we talked about the specific ones that really need to be paid attention to. But he is still going to go through and do the homeworks on all of them, but the we talked about the specific ones to pay attention to, so we can get moving to some one-on-ones and going through his trades and really because I think you're doing a great job so far, Tim. Honestly, and just like really, once we get to those one-on-ones, we'll be able to dive in really deep and get you to the next level. Well, we appreciate you being here and definitely participating in everything. So it's nice to have you around, sir.
Hmm. And also, Tim, thank you for being vulnerable and actually sharing your losing trades because far and few,
Yes.
far
Yes,
and
yes.
few people share their losing trades. And they are the ones which make you better traders, make all of us better traders. And they're the ones that you look at afterwards and you go, why the hell did I take that? And I don't want to take a screenshot. I don't want to share it with anyone. I look stupid or whatever comes in your brain that we all experience. But that's the stuff when you look back on, you learn the most lessons and you make sure you don't repeat the lessons you learn. And that too. So Tim said, like I said initially, shouldn't have been trading anyway. And that's the things like we do have to note down, doing it like your mental temperature. Looks like what's the mental thermometer saying? Are you in the right headspace and doing that stuff? Problem is though, is that when you're not in the right headspace and you take trades and if they do win, then next time it happens, you think you can do it again. But the majority of the time, when you're not in the right headspace, you won't do well. You just won't read things right. But lessons
I wonder
learned.
who taught you that lesson. I don't know.
I think I read it in a book somewhere.
Think and Grow Rich, that right? Is it in there?
Yeah, somewhere. Somewhere.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah. I literally finished Think and Grow Rich the other day. That's quite odd.
I just can't do it. I try. I love trading, but I find a lot of trading books just so boring that I
Hmm.
can't do it. But like for me, it's more about mentality, right? And I find a lot of that in things like like the power of now, power of vulnerability, those kind of things. Probably do about the same job, just in a different way to get me there, you know?
Yeah, I feel that, but then I also think that for newer traders, I think sometimes people can go on they think they need market psychology stuff, whereas really they just need more screen time.
Right.
Yes,
So like
absolutely
you were
correct.
saying earlier, how you just looked at the charts and you were like, just got a certain look to it. To
Yeah.
someone who's never looked at it before, they're saying like, what on earth are you on about? But
Yeah.
you've just seen it thousands and thousands of times. So I used to think that my trading psychology wasn't there, but really I just hadn't seen the price bars print the way they printed enough times to feel comfortable taking certain trades.
Yeah. Well, and
So
it's like I couldn't even fully explain why when we were talking about it too. But I was
Mhm.
like, I've seen this look so many times. And then that's when we started looking around and said, okay, well, the 10946 was still blue BBs and going up, and the
Yeah.
233 was, going up, and you were making divergences on the chart. So it was all those things together. But now just when I see them, I think it just kind of look at the movement. I'm like, okay, this movement looks like it's going more up.
Yeah.
And then once you put together all the other reasons why, it solidifies it.
Tim says, I've pretty much done everything possibly wrong. I just need to brush up and eliminate the bad habits and focus on the simple things and be consistent. Yep. You know what you got to do, Tim. But knowing and actually doing it can be quite separate things, can't they? But I mean, you know what to do. So that's the hardest part. At least you've identified it. A lot of people would just, not take the screenshots, not learn the lessons, just forget about it and move on. And you're doing all the right steps that you need to go through in order to be consistently successful. Right, this is moving slow. So I think I'm going to go over all the fun stuff again.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's a book out there called it's got a habit in my list. I think it's called I Know What to Do, so why don't I do it? you know? And it's talking about like, the right things to do. It's just about creating those habits to continue doing the right things because you've created those habits of you doing the wrong things
Hmm.
for a while. So it's just about like, creating those habits into the things that help you make the better choices.
Word. Right.
To your
Back
mom.
back to the website. Schedule. Be sure to keep up to date with the schedule. Tim, you know that. You know the whole spiel, but people watching, live class schedules should be updated every couple of weeks with the Spanish side and the English side going through the free curriculum. You can click on each of them and sign up for the Zoom links and also get access to the free core course up to section 4. Scroll on down to the bottom where you'll get all of the news on the seminar. This will have a new link soon going into more detail about what the seminar will be going over and with also the different payment options you can have with regards to which days you want to attend. Go ahead and join the Discord by clicking on this. It should take you as a direct link straight to the Discord, and then you can obviously get access via to see everyone's charts. So you can see we just share winning trades, losing trades. Everyone trades different, just sharing the progress. And it's great because you get to see how everyone trades. You get to see the trades that you wouldn't take. So you get to learn essentially new setups. You get to gain confidence in certain looks that you aren't really confident. So, for example, I'm not too confident on the breakout trades, but Cesar's been absolutely smashing it recently. So I can just go down and essentially study his charts and see what he's doing correct that I'm doing wrong. For example, I took a loss here the other day, not a full loss. I realized I was trading in the wrong direction, but like I said, we all make mistakes. So it's just reassuring to see. Sounds weird, but it's reassuring to see that other people lose trades. A lot of the time you think everyone's winning, but actually being able to see people have losing days, it kind of gives you a confidence boost in a weird way. Of course, you'll then have access, general chat, so you can chat to all of us there. Lovely picture of Tim. Sorry, Tim, if you didn't want to show your face, but there's Tim. And yeah, so go ahead and join the Discord. And then I think that about wraps it up. So yeah, any questions, guys? Hit us up at support@responsibledaytrading.com. Go over to the website and grab the free course. And
Yeah, if
thank
y'all
you.
haven't joined the free course or if y'all want to come and join us, definitely do that. But yeah, I think we're good to wrap it up. I have this like crazy feeling that like as soon as we close this out, the market's just going to be like pew pew pew, but um we're
You
still
still
just
thinking
stuck
we
in
get
that same
W?
space that we've been I'm still in it in my mind because look at those MACDs on the 10946.
Yeah.
They're still blue and outside. They're going to have to pull around some. Um so like maybe I'm like in my mind I'm in it, but in my mind but I'm in reality I'm not in anything right now.
So you're
Uh,
anticipating it to what push up perhaps to the EMAs and then reevaluate at that stage?
I was for a little while. I'm like, now we're starting to get closes at the bottom of the bars on the 10946. The BBs are closing in closer together, so we may see a little bit of a pullback. But at this point, I'd want to break through the 1597 EMAs and then pull back to them to the downside.
Hmm.
So the yellow EMAs and get below that, get below the zero line. Um, But honestly, right now, like since we started this class, we really haven't moved anywhere, right?
Yeah, literally from about here. Yeah, literally no action at
Yeah.
all. Just on the 233. To be able to see a whole hour, an hour and a half, and just that on the 233
Oh,
is
wow.
pretty ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it's trying to make that move back down, but I don't think we're going to be here for it because that's another important thing when you decide to shut it down, shut it down. I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
wait, one more. I mean, if it goes, it's fine. It's the decision that you've made. You're going to shut it down and it's time to move on. And Tim, I saw your message. I'm going to send that to Angelina right now to make sure. Did you send it to her, Angelina at Responsible Day Trading or info? Okay, I am sending that. It was a crazy busy weekend with all the Easter hubbub for little kids. I had all her all the kids that from her house and her little clan over at my house yesterday because we did an Easter egg hunt for them and everything. But I just sent her a message, and I'm sure she'll get back with you today. So, all right, guys, thank y'all for being here, and I hope everybody has a great day, and I hope tomorrow gives some good opportunities.
Hmm.
Class on Thursday and then class on Saturday. So Spanish class Thursday, English class Saturday. So you guys come and join us.
And we look forward to catching y'all on the profitable side.
That is right.
See you
There is a
later, mate.
little April Fool's shenanigans if you look at our social media. Tim. All right, guys. Y'all have a great day and we will catch up with y'all soon.
See you later. Take care, guys. Bye bye.